we want to make sure that we're not causing her to associate seeing another dog with correction per se. And that's a caveat, because when she does target, we do need to interrupt her brain on that. It's really important that we do interrupt her brain so she doesn't start to be the aggressor. But at the same time, we need to be careful that we don't correct her when she doesn't need correction, because then she's going to start to have anticipatory anxiety. She's anxious about the dog, but then she's feeling as though she's doomed to get in trouble because of the other dog. And we don't want to do that to her. She is doing a much better job on a whole at watching her position with me. And I'm really happy with that. We're going to keep this first walk kind of short because we don't want to max out her brain too much, and she's already had quite a bit of training today on other things. So I want to make sure that we are sensitive to her mental capacity. So it's okay if she noticed something for a split second. She just noticed the video man over there, but she's not targeting, and that's what is important. She's also not checking out from me, so when I slow down, she slows down, and that's something that we want to see her do consistently. Good. It's also really positive to praise her once she's successfully passed a distraction, so that instead of fearing correction, she actually begins looking forward to the affirmation that she's going to have once you pass the distraction. So right now I'm going to take the approach of what can I do to make sure that she has more to think about than the dog, and it worked. So she started to perk her ears up and kind of target the dog in front of us, but then I kept doing slow downs, just like that. I can even do a 180 to see if her brain's still with me. I enjoy doing those as well. If I can use creativity instead of correction, I would prefer to do so. Sometimes you try to use creativity and you realize you need to use correction because they're really not paying attention. But if you can be creative and do pace changes and maybe some patterns, it can be really helpful to the dog because it refocuses their brain back on the handler. We've got a dog leaving. And I'm going to be working with her. Good. Good. Shh. Good. What we're basically doing is working with her brain. Good. Teaching her that I know she wants to go faster because she wants to get away from the other dog. But the key to going faster is going to be looking at me. And where the dog's eyes are determines where the dog's mind is. If their eyes are not on you, their mind is not on you. So, good girl. By having her focus on me, by giving her reasons to focus on me, it's going to help her mentally to not get so upset about the other dog. And she did really well back there. Very pleased with how she handled that situation. I only gave her one no marker because she let out a little squeak. and I don't want her to vocalize back at the other dog. There's a correction for getting ahead. There's a dog out in the front yard over here. I have no idea whether it's contained. It looked at us and looked away. If he hasn't noticed it yet, I am going to go up on the sidewalk just to avoid any possible confrontations with the other dog. With her being as small as she is, what I would be doing if we did see the dog coming our way is I would just scoop Clover up and stand there until the family could take control of their dog. But it doesn't look like that's going to be an issue. Distance is always your friend when you're dealing with distractions, so if you do see another dog that you're not sure is contained, it's really wise to give yourself quite a bit more distance from the other dog. They're less likely to lose control of themselves and run out at you. Good. If you put more distance between you and them. So there she was lagging and she got distracted. And oftentimes it's tempting to correct them and give them a leash check if they do that. However, my goal is to put responsibility on her shoulders and to use the leash as little as possible. So I'm going to lead first with what I want her to respect and respond to most. And if she does not respect and respond to the cue that I give her, that's when I'm going to bring the leash in. The exception to that, of course, is if I don't really have time to go through that progression and it's a tough situation like with another dog that is aggressing toward her and she's escalating towards that other dog. Good. So she's noticing, she never targeted. That's exactly what we're looking for on walks. We're looking for a dog that notices good, but doesn't target. I once again employed the slowdowns, the pace changes, to try to give her something else to think about aside from the other dog. So anytime you see those ears go up and you see her really start to fixate on something, that's a good time to do something that requires her to think more about her job. There again, she started to drift. I used the positive kissing sound to see if I could get her brain to focus back on me, and it worked. Because ultimately, my goal is to not need the leash with her. So, although I may always need it on neighborhood walks, my goal eventually is that in other situations, I will not need a leash for her. So, I'm going to gradually climb toward that goal by using the leash as a backup to other cues rather than as the primary enforcement or source of direction. If you are doing the walk in a way that's helpful to the dog, your corrections should get less and less, and your affirmation should become more frequent. That's why you'll almost always see me give the strongest corrections in the first couple minutes of the walk, because I understand that how I start the walk determines how the walk goes.